Sup everyone, I'm ItsReallyTimmyB and welcome to another EBL Roundup. Today we are going to be covering Week 3 of the EBL, and at the end, of course, we always make our Week 4 predictions. As I said, I'm ItsReallyTimmyB and I am joined by my co-host, Infernomen, aka Landon, who is also the coach of the Iowa Incineroar. Landon, buddy, how are we doing today?
Doing good, still undefeated. Very excited to talk about this week's matchups and, the potential matchup winnings of next week.
Yes, absolutely, and it's going to be great to talk about these matchups. A couple of teams have already clinched a playoff spot, and a couple of other teams are just pretty much a +1 away, or just a win away that they will clinch this week. But before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the thumbs up button on this video, subscribe to this channel for the EBL to get roundups, Luigi's Fails of the Week, the Power Rankings, some more videos coming down your way in the near future. Also, subscribe to all of the amazing coaches here who put in so much work to give you these battles. So make sure you like and subscribe on everybody's channel, videos, etc. And, also subscribe to your co-host as well. Well, Landon, buddy, I know we're both feeling a little under the weather, but that doesn't stop us from talking about some EBL matches. You ready to hop into the first matchup of Week 3, excuse me?
Yes, sir.
Well, beautiful. So the first matchup we had on the schedule were the San Diego Sylveons against the Akron Axews. Both the teams needed a win, so whoever won this one was going to get their first win of the season. And that went to the San Diego Sylveons and Tara, the queen of the Stone Family 64, with a +4 score. I had a couple of notes here. One of the big things was the frozen Gastrodon in the middle of the battle. We talked about it off screen where Tara didn't react to it, just froze a Gastrodon. She just was like expressionless, as you put it, Landon. Sorry to take the words from your mouth. My big notes was the first play of the game, the Galvantula comes out against the Kyogre. Kyogre has the Drizzle. Galvantula decided to go with the Sticky Web instead of the Thunder, which was 100%. Not sure if that Thunder would have taken out the Kyogre, but still would have done at least 75% damage, getting that into the yellow, maybe even the red on the Kyogre. Don't know how that Galvantula was built, but I think that was a huge misplay. I mean, at least for me, Landon, I always try to go for damage, so I would have gone with the Thunder there, and I think from that point forward, it was just the San Diego Sylveons. My other note was the Gigantamax versus Urshifu, but I don't remember why I wrote that one, so how about you talk about your notes?
Sorry, I was just typing something right there. I tried to, make notes about more important things this week, so we don't end up making these videos go on for too long for your viewing pleasure. But the notes that I have was that I thought it was very exciting that at the beginning of the match, Galvantula got one-shot by Hydro Pump, as we discussed last week. Something from Iso's team that could really do a lot of damage to Tara's team was that Galvantula, and her Hydro Pump one-shotting it was pretty cool to see. Urshifu got one-shotted by G-Max Wind Rage, which was also very cool. His biggest threat on his team got one-shotted by G-Max move, so that's pretty cool. That's
why I wrote that down. Now I
remember. Yeah. And the last thing that I have that differs from yours, you mentioned Kyogre froze Gastrodon, but Clefable was taking a lot of hits. It took a couple Steel-type moves, and it still wasn't going down. Part of that went to him Dynamaxing while Tara's Dynamax was pretty much finished. So when she was hitting him with Steel-type moves, it didn't do as much damage as it would have if he wasn't Dynamaxed. Plus, that Calm Mind really helped as well. So the Clefable took a lot more hits than it normally would have, so the Clefable really proved itself to be more useful than it did last week.
Yeah, absolutely, and so it was definitely a fun battle to watch, as all of them are. They're all pretty fun. Something just happened outside my place. Sounds like, I don't know, something's happening. There was a loud boom, but anyways, moving on. That puts you at 1-0 for the week, myself 0-1. You did a little bit better than me this week again. You went 4-2 with your predictions, and I went 2-4. So, yeesh, Timmy B, come on, buddy. We got to do better in Week 4. But the next matchup, we have the Miami Dragonites going against newcomer the Walton Wingulls. The Dragonites defeated the Wingulls with a score of +5. And I had a couple of notes here, Landon, as we do for every battle, as I will say that for pretty much every other battle. My thing for the Wingulls was they were too cheesy, if that makes sense. They tried to get the boost. They tried to go for things like sticky webs and stealth rocks. They tried to do a swords dance or a dragon dance. when you're going up against a team like the Miami Dragonites, a powerhouse, and tying the record or setting the record for most consecutive wins here in the EBL, you just got to go for damage. Definitely understand setup moves when needed, but I felt like the Waltz and Winkles were a little too cheesy with that. The other notes I had was missing the Dragon Rush. That was absolutely huge. The Toxic Sweep, the Rapid Spin Rocks from the Blastoise, good call, and a good move from Guanako. So I've been using that myself in Showdown the past couple of days. As somebody sets up rocks, being like, oh, dope, I got Rapid Spin or I got Defog, so like, sweet. I wrote down Toxic Sweep, too cheesy, missed Dragon Rush, and that was pretty much all I had from the Dragonites versus the Wingles. Buddy, how about yourself?
All right, so for myself, I noticed that at the beginning of the match mostly, but throughout the match, there was a lot of back and forth, a lot of switching between the two teams, especially with Guanako, him getting the Lycanroc poison and then switching back out to it later to take out I think 2 of Nate's Mons, if I remember correctly, which was really nice to see. But it took 4 minutes for the first Mon to go down, and that was Guanako. I can't remember which Mon was taken out, but the first Mon to go down happened 4 minutes into the match about. Guanako won, and neither of the teams Dynamaxed. This is one of a very few rare cases. I remember the last time neither team has Dynamaxed in a match, so that was kind of interesting to see. As we mentioned last week, if Guanako won this match, he would have the longest win streak in the EBL. He won, so he has the long winning streak of 7. And that could keep on going. Of course, we'll talk about it later. But, you know, he's fighting Derrick week 4, so that could really go either way. So,
yeah, definitely excited to be choosing that game, and definitely a not so welcoming experience for the EBL for our friend Nate Tube and the Walton Wingles, but hopefully he can bounce back in week 4 and get him some momentum going into season 4. Next up, another huge matchup that we were talking about. We got this one both wrong, buddy. The Detroit Luxrays against the Indiana Igglybuffs. The Detroit Luxrays won, with a score of +3, and they have clinched a spot in the playoffs. I believe they're at +12 now, so that's just absolutely amazing. Salamence again winning the MVP, and 3 weeks of the EBL season, 3 MVPs for the Detroit Luxrays, 2 of them being Salamence. My notes on this one was just Salamence. That was pretty self-explanatory. I wrote down the Magnet Rise on the Magnezone, which was predicted a little bit. For the Igglybuff side, it seemed like maybe a couple of misclicks. I think Bob mentioned he might have misclicked once or twice. And then my other note was the Earthquake Blaziken, a great strategy right there for Max to go with the Earthquake and Blaziken, and at that point that was all over for the Luxrays. But I thought this was a very interesting battle. Definitely not the most exciting battle. That'll be the next one that we'll be talking about with the Braviary and Kinglers. But this was a very fun battle to watch, and these two were kind of going at it for a little bit, and then toward the end we could see the Luxrays pulling forward, maybe to some of the misclicks that Bob might have mentioned in his video, but at the end of the day, the Luxrays are first place, best team in the Mega Division right now, and are in the playoffs.
For myself, I definitely thought that this match was really, really interesting to watch. Of course, this is one of those matches where an undefeated team, 2 undefeated teams fought each other, and it determined if one was going to keep up their streak or if they were going to end up losing. Max is definitely doing really well this season compared to the last couple of seasons, and we've talked so much about how good Bob is, especially from what Derrick has told us about his battling in the past outside of the EBL. So this really could have gone either way, but you know, Max and Bob both played really well, and Max ended up being on top. Kudos to that Salamence. I've dealt with it in the past before, as I keep on mentioning. Every time that the Salamence does a lot of work, I have to mention what Derrick did to me last season in the playoffs. Grippsnarl was very, very bulky. It took a lot of work to take it out. Even when it got burned, when Mimikyu got hit, taking out half of its health, it took burn damage, and it still survived with a little sliver of HP, so it really took a lot of work to take out that Grimmsnarl. I also took note of the Naganadel switch out. Max used Earthquake against the Naganadel, one-shotted it. That was really wild, because that Grimmsnarl, the Naganadel is such a powerhouse, and for Max to take it out was really, like, it was really, really awesome. I was actually very excited for him. And I know we're not trying to make too many jokes about Bob and Dynamaxing because he doesn't hate it, but he Dynamaxed for the first time this season. So round of applause to Bob. Congrats on your first Dynamax.
Way to Dynamax,
Sorry it
baby.
didn't work out for you.
Yeah, no, this was definitely a lot of fun, and you can even tell on Max's side, even Dynamaxing at the end, he was like, I got to do this out of desperation, and it worked out. And even Bob kind of called it. He was like, all right, well, he has to Dynamax his Salamence now. So that was interesting to see on both sides. My goodness, I can't speak, but that'll wrap it up for the Mega Division. And after Week 3, just kind of running through those standings real quick, as I mentioned, the Detroit Luxrays 3-0 plus 12 clinch a playoff spot. Second place Miami Dragonites 3-0 plus 9. Third place Indiana Igglybuffs 2-1 with a plus 4. Fourth place San Diego Sylveons 1-2 with a minus 4. Fifth place the Akron Axews 0-3 with minus 12. And finally wrapping up the Mega Division, we have the Walton Wingles 0-3 and minus 16. Landon, any final thoughts or words about the Mega Division in Week 3?
The Mega Division, it seems like it's kind of in the same spot that the Dynamax Division was at last season, where there's a lot of people with losing streaks, but there's also a lot of people with winning streaks. So the scale of the kill to death ratio is just so wild. Like if I can take a look at there we go, Mega Division standings. If I can take a quick look at this here, you got Max with a plus 12 at number 1, which is pretty insane. Then the lowest of the higher teams is the Indy Igglybuffs with plus 4, and then you take a look at the Wingles that are at negative 16. And of course, 2 of those matches were not played by the Wingles themselves, but you know, it's kind of a diverse difference of where the standings are at. And if you take a look at the division standings in the Discord from last season, we were kind of in a similar spot with Max and the Detroit Luxrays being at negative 11 in Week 3, while the number 1 spot was at plus 7. So that's what I kind of noticed.
Yeah, and just an amazing turnaround from the Detroit Luxrays last year, going 1-4 with a minus 15, and now 3-0 with a plus 12. I mean, that is a 27 KD swing, and there's still 2 weeks to go for the Detroit Luxrays to add that on there. But now we're moving on to the Dynamax Division from Week 3, and definitely, I would say, match of the week between the Atlanta Braviary, our friend and Commissioner Matty Ice from Stone Family 64, going up against the Kentucky Kinglers and our friend Derrick, aka Always More Videos. The Kinglers became victorious in this matchup with a plus 2. I wrote down great match, obviously. Both of them thought it was over at some point in the battle. Derrick thought it was over a little bit earlier on his point of view. Then a lucky crit from a Giga Drain on the Ludicolo against the Alakazam. And then Matty Ice was like, well, I needed everything but a crit, got a crit. As we all know, Nuzlocke, it's like, well, as long as they don't, oh, they crit, never mind. So yeah, that was the deciding factor of the battle. My other notes, I have Starmie, oops. Matty Ice led with Starmie against the Cinderace, great job. Was unaware of the dark moves and went with Power Gem, although it wasn't super effective with the type change. Being a dark type move, I would have gone with Scald, not only for the chance of a burn, but also it's just a stab move, so probably a little bit extra damage. Definitely wouldn't have taken out the Cinderace, but a dark type move against a Starmie, not going to go too well. Let's see, the freeze on Togekiss, I don't know who did it. I just wrote down freeze Togekiss, and then I wrote the Dynamax call, where they both called the Dynamax and all that stuff, and then the crit Giga Drain, excuse me, my goodness, try saying that 5 times fast. As I said, the crit Giga Drain, I can't say it again, from that Ludicolo on the Alakazam was the deciding factor. And then, because Derrick only had Omastar left, and obviously Kartana's a little bit faster than Omastar, so definitely would have taken that out, so that was the deciding factor. But a great matchup, a great game, and would definitely watch these guys battle every single time. I wish they could just battle again for fun, because I would be there, I would watch it, front row seats, $50 a pop, I'm there. Landon, your thoughts on this battle?
So first of all, I just want to say, if my face cam goes black, it's not broken. I just blow my nose, and I don't want you guys to see that because that's nasty. Anywho,
oh, that's nasty.
You're lucky because I actually wrote down who froze the Togekiss, and that was Politoed, because the Polyfam stays winning. I also put down that Derrick definitely got the names of the week this week. I know the only anime you've seen so far, Timmy, is Attack on Titan, and still that you're not even caught up with it all the way.
Maybe I do that.
But My second favorite anime is My Hero Academia, and Derrick is currently in the middle of watching it. He's obsessed with it. He talked about it when we were recording ORAS 2v2 with Josh and Jack. He's in love with it right now, and that really showed with his nicknames this week, because every single mon in his team this week was named after an MHA character, and I really love that. He told me about why he named the Ludokono Todoroki, but at first I was just like, that nickname's a little bit off, but he said it was because it had Ice Beam. So I'll give you a pass on this one, Derrick. But I also wanted to mention how Derrick brought the Cinderace again. He said before the season started that he was drafting Cinderace so nobody else would take it, and that he wasn't going to really bring it that much, but there hasn't been a match this season where he hasn't brought it, so I think maybe he might have changed his mind. No, it hasn't completely destroyed his opponents as Cinderace has done in the past, but it definitely coming really acts as a backbone for his team, and you know, him naming it Deku this week was really cool. But you know, I just took note of that for Cinderace. But that's all the notes I had for this match. It was a really awesome match. Congrats to the both of you. Matt lost again, but you know, really good match, and you did really well, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. So Braviary have a tough matchup against the Detroit Luxuries this week, but you can never rule out Matty Ice and the Atlanta Braviary. Despite their 0-3 record, they are going to be here. They're going to be ready to battle you, and they're going to be ready to party. The next matchup in the Dynamax division, we have your Iowa Incineroar going up against the Essex Espions. And you were victorious with a +2. Before you just talk about your battle and a little bit more of your thoughts from your point of view, my notes, I got to give my names of the week to the Essex Espions. I wrote down Toxaflex, LOL, and then I wrote down Tony Hawk, and then a third Pokemon came out that I really liked, so I just wrote down names. That just shows you my note process. So I give my names of the week to the Essex Espions. I chuckled, they were very funny. Tony Hawk, a great name for a Pokemon like Alolan Raichu, being on the little, you know, surfboard, skateboard. My other notes were just Hitmontop, Dynamax MVP with 4 kills, which was awesome to see from Hitmontop and Johnny. I wrote down the Sludge Mew and the Dynamax Raichu, where he said it earlier in the battle. He's like, I should probably Dynamax here. And he was right. He probably should have Dynamaxed Alolan Raichu at that time. And then I said the freeze on Comfy was awesome. I just wrote down Seal of Steel because that was dope. And then for some reason on your side for my notes, I just wrote Mistake. I don't know why I did, but I just wrote down Mistake. So yeah, that's all the notes that I have. Landon, how about you just kind of walk us through your battle a little bit more specifically, other than just names and Mistake on my end?
Okay, so I want to I want to mention, first of all, Hitmontop was built exactly for this situation this week. We put Q52 into its attack, so physical attacks would hurt more, and we built it on priority, so if there was ever a chance we needed to use Sucker Punch or Mach Punch, it would get the job done. And you guys clearly saw at the end of the match there, everything that Pidge had left was easily going to be taken out by Sucker Punch or Mach Punch, considering their priority. And Snorlax probably would have taken a Mach Punch, but I went for close combat just to ensure that it would have went down. So that's all I really wanted to mention about my side. Incineroar was finally brought, so I don't have to bring any more Pokemon. I brought all 9 this season. If you're wondering why it took me so long to bring Incineroar, even though it's my mascot, the reasoning is because my first 2 opponents probably would have destroyed Incineroar with their teams, so we just didn't want to bring it for those matches, so we brought it against Pidge for good reasons. I mean, you guys saw with the low kicks and everything like that, that really helped against Dialga. But for my notes for Pidge specifically, he had told me after our match, but you could also see or hear him talk about it in his perspective, that he tried to calm mine substitute Comfey just to take down a lot of my mons. That didn't end up working out for him because I took down a substitute, and then he calm minded, and eventually Comfey got frozen by Vanillix. Big plug for Vanillix there. Then I took it down. Good predict for the Comfey switch out on my side with the Leech Seed. I really didn't think of it as too much of a big play there, but I just wanted to use Leech Seed to get off on it because I expected him to switch out. So I guess me getting it on Snorlax was pretty good. I do want to mention too, I know I said I'm talking about Pidge now, I do want to mention too, if you're wondering, hey Langton, when your Celesteela was asleep, why didn't you go for Earthquake on that Raichu if you were expecting to wake up? The answer to that is that Aerial Ace did so much damage the first time I used it against Raichu that I forgot I had Earthquake and tried to go for Aerial Ace again. So that's the only reason why I didn't go for Earthquake. It was my bad. But yeah, you know, Pidge battled really well this week. I really enjoyed battling him. He, as I mentioned, he definitely doesn't deserve to be 1 and 2, but that's just the way the league goes. There are really good battlers, but that doesn't mean they're always going to win, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. I already mentioned Hitmontop was built on physical priority. That's all I have for the notes.
Yeah, and it's lucky for the Essex Espeons. They are still in a good spot to make the playoffs potentially. They're at a 0 right now. We'll cover the standings in just a quick second. So definitely hold up your head up high, Pidge. We can definitely see you bounce back in week 4 for sure. But before we get into some week 4 battles, buddy, we got the Texas Tyranitar getting their first win of the EBL, their EBL career, as well as the season here for the Texas Tyranitar, going up against the TJ Gengar of Latin Luigi and Alan the Doorman, one with a +2. My notes are he started off with his Heliolus against Luigi's Swampert. Alan was like, oh boy, I have Grass Knot on this. No way Luigi knows that I have Grass Knot on this Heliolus. So he used it and got it down to about 14 health, and then Luigi used Earthquake. And then watching on Luigi's side, since it was just so funny that Alan was like, oh, he has no idea I have this. And then Luigi's like, all right, cool, so Heliolus gets out. He's probably going to be using Grass Knot here. Okay, if it doesn't take it out, let me just go with an Earthquake. So it was just funny seeing those two different perspectives, which is why everybody watching this needs to watch both perspectives of the video, because one side will be like, oh, they have no idea they're coming in. The other side is like, oh, yeah, no, yep, that's what they're using. So that was my notes. Actually, huge that the Swampert didn't get taken out, because that Heliolus could have done some more damage to Luigi's team. I got the Como-O was paralyzed from a glare. Great move by the Texas Tyranitar after the Dynamax to paralyze it. And then at the end of the day, it just came down to who outsped who, and it was the Doorman. So, Landon, you are fresh from watching this battle, to my knowledge, and I guess so am I, but those were only my notes. How about yourself?
So I didn't have too many notes on this, since, you know, the battle was so intense, there wasn't like any huge plays going on, not many at least. It was really a back and forth match. It really could have gone either way. I know we say that a lot, but this match, like, Luigi had more mons than Alan, I'm pretty sure, at one point, and it just got turned around. So the Swampert got taken out first. That was really big, because Swampert is a really big tank, plus it does a lot against Alan's team, with it heavily being rock and ground. I thought that it was really awesome that Luigi put Trick Room and Imprison on Indeedee. I never really use Imprison on my mons, but using it, putting it on a mon, like in that situation, is really cool, because it just expelled Reuniclus from being able to use Trick Room, which is what Alan has Reuniclus on his team for. But eventually it just came down to Tyranitar, especially with that Dragon Dance. Luigi said he made a misplay with an Earthquake into Sandaconda. I really just, you know, ended up sliding towards Alan for the win there. All I gotta say is congratulations, Alan, on your first win. You definitely deserve to win against me at week 1, so you know, you getting your first win now is really symbolic of, you know, how good your team can be, and I'm glad that you finally got your win there. So good job with this match, and good job to Luigi as well. You brought all the power that you could, and that one misplay maybe determined the match, but you still played really well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Luigi's played excellent, and so it was a great battle. And yeah, I didn't have too many notes on that one either, just because that's how the battle went. It wasn't anything too crazy, anything too wild. It was just, yeah, ABC, XYZ, the battle happened. But that'll wrap up week 3. To recap the Dynamax Division standings after week 3, your Iowa Incineroar are in first place at 3-0 with a +9. In second place, we got those TJ Gengar at 2-1 with a +4. In third place, we got the Kentucky Kinglers at 2-1 with a +4 as well. Fourth place, we got the Essex Espeons at 1-2 with just an even 0, as I mentioned not too long ago. Fifth place, we got the Texas Tyranitar at 1-2 with a -3. And sixth place, we got the Atlanta Braviary at 0-3 with a -8. So Landon, any final words about Week 3, the Dynamax division, or anything like that before we make some Week 4 predictions?
Yeah, I just want to say, just for myself personally, I had a lot of fun season 2. That was my first experience with VGC, like actually doing it, and I had a blast even if I was losing. But being 3-0 compared to being 2-1 last season, that eventually led to me being 2-3 and getting knocked out first week of playoffs, I definitely see myself heading in a better direction this season, and I definitely love this season a lot more. There's a lot more coaches, a lot more being some of my friends. Like me inviting Luigi this season was really nice for me, and working with Offline this season as well as Humberto has really helped me improve my battling skills. So going into Week 4, I'm feeling pretty confident with my team. So good luck to everybody else.
You know what? I'd feel pretty confident too if I was 3-0. And yeah, it's great that we have so many amazing content creators here, and very excited. And I know you are too, to battle Luigi in Week 5 in the regular season finale. But before that, buddy, we got Week 4 to go through and pick. And your team is actually first on the board, first on the schedule. We got the San Diego Sylveons going up against your Iowa Incineroar, buddy. I will let you take the floor. Of course, we don't want to give you any spoilers or anything like that, but just, broadly talk about some of your strategy maybe, or just going into this battle against Tara. Definitely somebody you can't sleep on.
So obviously I'm not going to reveal my strategy. That would be a mistake. But looking at both of our teams, when I look at her team for a second here, with the way it's been used against other Mons, especially freezing the Gastrodon in Week 3, Kyogre is really a big threat on Tara's team, and I am pretty scared of it. Of course, I do have Tangrowth. Did I just tell you that I'm bringing Tangrowth this week? Maybe not. I don't know. That's for you to decide. But she's got a lot of other mons too. The Dragon and Fairy types on her team are very evident. Leafeon kind of beat me Week 5 last season. I'm a little bit more prepared for Leafeon this season, though. I will say that. I'm really excited to see what Tara brings and how I can combat it. But I'm gonna, you guys know, I always give it to myself, but I'm gonna be confident this time and say that I can outplay the Kyogre and combat the rest of her team and give myself the win here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, and you basically just took the words from my mouth. I think you're able to take down the Kyogre, and I think everything else is just, who makes the better call right here. I'm going with the Iowa Incineroar right now for my pick as well, but definitely this is going to be a tough battle for you. The Sylveons have a great team and can have some interesting strategies, especially with the Zoroark that we tried to see last week. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out against the Gengar, but that could always be cheesy with Illusion, and of course the rest of her team could be a tough battle, but I'm going with the Incineroar for this one. Next up, we have huge matchup. We got the Miami Dragonites going up against the Kentucky Kinglers, the Season 2 Championship rematch. As we all know, the Miami Dragonites defeated the Kinglers last year to win the Season 2 Championship, and they're meeting here in Week 4 of the regular season. I don't want to say both teams need a win, obviously, because they're in second and third place respectively, but a win here would be huge for both teams. Landon, who's your thoughts on this one and who's your pick?
So this is one of those situations where it's really hard to decide, because these are both great battlers and two close friends of mine. Of course, you know that my brain always says go Guanako, go Guanako, not only because he's been doing VGC since I was a baby, but because, he's been helping me battle and that kind of stuff. Derrick is a really awesome battler too. He's definitely improved since Season 1. This Drizzle team is working out better for him than he thought it was going to in the first place. Like I mentioned before with Cinderace, I could see it coming again this week. But we know that Guanako was the first wielder of Cinderace. He knows how to outplay it for sure. I don't want to say that this is my bias towards Guanako, but I'm gonna have to go with the Miami Dragonites just solely because of the way that their teams are against each other. I definitely think the Dragonites can pull this one off.
Yeah, if there's anybody who knows how to defeat a Drizzle team, I'm going with Guanako Gaming and our friend Alberto. This is going to be a fantastic battle. Can't wait to watch it. I'm going to go with the Dragonites as well, and I think the Whimsicott can be really cheesy against this Drizzle team for setups and things like that. Obviously, Zaruta, a powerful packer. But also last week, Guanako brought Eternatus, didn't really need it. Like, it's like one of the best Pokemon out there, and just didn't use it. So, always easy. Probably don't expect to see Charizard this week, but hey, I'm not the coach of Miami Dragonites. I would definitely not bring Charizard to a Drizzle Fest and a little Rain Fest, but I'm going with the Dragonites as well. And we're just going from tough matchup, really good game, to a really good battle, to another tough matchup and really good battle. We got the Detroit Luxrays going up against the Atlanta Braviary. Absolutely must win for the Atlanta Braviary to keep their playoff hopes alive. As we mentioned, Detroit Luxrays first place, plus 12 in the Mega Division, already have clinched a playoff spot, but they're gunning for that 1 seed. They're gunning for that plus 20 plus or whatever. They really want to sweep and win some battles here. This is really tough for me to pick. Looking at the teams, I mean, it's the Detroit Luxrays. Not much to say. We got Blaziken, we got Salamence, we got Quagsire, Mimikyu, Shuckle, Roserade. We still have the Moltres that we still haven't really seen in battle, which could be really scary because that can definitely do some damage on Matty Ice's team, the Atlanta Braviary. Once again, just to put my Starmie plug, could do a little bit well just looking at Max's team. Depending on the moveset, just make sure Matty Ice chooses the right moves when Starmie is out in battle. This is a tough one, but when you're looking at a team that's in first place against a team that's in last place, yes, I know it is Matty Ice. I'm going to go with the Detroit Luxrays in this one, Landon. How about yourself?
So, I got a couple things to say about this match. First of all, Matt has never lost to Max, and although Max is doing really well this season, I don't see Matt going 0-5, and that doesn't mean that he couldn't win next week, but if any of these matches are going to be a win for Matt, I definitely see it being this week. Now, with the Salamence can be very, very speedy, but Ice Shard is priority, and there are plenty of Mons, there's a couple Mons on Matt's team that could learn Ice Shard and outspeed that Salamence with the priority, take it out, and stop it there. Matt could definitely, I could see him strategizing against Max, and you know what, the Hands of Fate, I could definitely see the win streak for Matt against Max specifically continuing. Max has battled really well this season, but I'm going to give this win to Matt in the Atlanta Braviary this week, just because I think it would be funny if Max's win streak just went down just because Matt always wins against him. So this is more of like a dangerous choice because I'm doing it for comedic reasons, but I don't see Matt going 0-5 this season, so I'm going to give this one to Matt.
I mean, even the last two battles, if the Kinglers pull it off in Derrick, I wouldn't be surprised if Matty Ice pulls it out. Whoever wins, I'm not going to be surprised, really, just given how good these teams are, especially this season, and how dangerous a guy like Matty Ice has been in previous seasons. So you're going with the Braviary, I'm going with the Luxury, so we're finding the opposite on a battle. Next up, we got newcomer Nate Tube and his Walton Winkles going up against the TJ Gengar. This is going to be another fun matchup. Again, two pretty decent teams happening right now. Luigi kind of needs a win to continue on his winningness, coming off a tough loss to the Doorman. I'm going to go with the TJ Gengar in this one, just because what I saw from Nate Tube last week, again, he could be a great battler. We don't know. To me, he was just too cheesy, and I can't pick that right now. I like cheese, don't get me wrong. I love cheese. I love queso. I love, 4 cheese pizzas and a lot of grilled cheese sandwiches, but might have been a little too cheesy for my liking. I'm going to go with the TJ Gengar. Landon, how about yourself, buddy?
Looking at this matchup here, I do see a lot of power coming from the Wingles team. Of course, I fought them before. Unfortunately, they lost last week against Guanako, but there is a lot of power coming from that side. However, Luigi has yet to bring Xerneas, and we don't know what to predict from it. But I know that Xerneas is really, really good in VGC, being a fairy type legendary and all that. It's got really, really good stats. I could definitely see him bring it this week. I mean, he's either got to bring it against the Wingles or myself. So I could see him bringing Xerneas for sure. Plus the rest of his team does really, really well against the Wingles. And of course the Wingles do have a lot to combat the Gengars, but I'm going to have to give it to our friend Luigi here, hand him another win. So let's see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then next one, we have the Akron Axews going up against the Essex Espeons. This one, I do think that the Espeons do bounce back. I do think they get the win against the Axews. This is going to be, again, an interesting battle. I mean, Urshifu is tough, Blacephalon is tough, which we haven't really seen yet. The Hippowdon is nice, Crobat as well, so We're going to be seeing some new mods from the Akron Axews, I do believe, this week. But at the end of the day, just looking at that Essex Espeons team, and Landon, you know, you just battled them, but I mean, this team is just well balanced, has some heavy hitters. I'm going to go with the Espeons in this one, buddy. What's your pick?
So, knowing Pidge's team and how he has a couple psychic types, he's got the Confe with the fairy type moves. We know that the Akron Axews have the water type Urshifu, not the dark type one. Bob has that one. There's a lot of like power to not just take out the biggest threat on the Axews team, but also his other mods as well. Of course, like Timmy said, there's some stuff that the Axews have to bring still. I can see Pidge taking them out as well with whatever he brings. So we're just gonna really have to see what this comes out to. But I'm gonna hand this one to Pidge and the Essex Espeons.
Makes sense, buddy. And speaking of our friend Bob, the Indiana Igglybuffs, the last game of Week 4, they're going up against the Texas Tyranitar and Allen and the Doorman. So this is going to be a very fun battle. I mean, Texas Tyranitar just got their first win. Oh, excuse me. Oh, man, I just coughed. Oh, my goodness gracious. But anyways, yeah, Indiana Igglybuffs, we're going up against a veteran battler in Bob and Yeltneb. Doorman also did well, got a first win. This is really tough, but me just looking at these two teams right now, I got to give it to the Igglybuffs. I think Bob bounces back. I still think that Allen does a great job. I think this is going to be a close battle. Could even be matchup of the week. I mean, this is definitely an underrated matchup. Everybody's seeing the Dragon Knights and the Kinglers and the Luxrays and the Braviary. So this could be a sleeper choice of a battle. These two are great people, great battlers. But I got to give it to Bob to bounce back and go with the Indiana Igglybuffs on this one, Landon.
Yeah, if you just look at Bob's team, you got the fighting type the dark type Urshifu that not only is super effective against the rock types on Allen's team, but also is immune to the psychic type Rhea Nicholas threat that we see. You see Ferrothorn on his team, which we know, as we saw last week, had some grass power held on to it. Also is steel type, so that helps with the rock types. You see Rotom Wash specifically if he outspeeds, which is very easy to do with Rotom. There's some water power in there. Scissor being bug and steel really helps against Allen's team. You got the fighting type Hawlucha, the dark type Grimmsnarl, and you know, basically everything on Bob's team is really good for Allen's team, even more so than mine was. So honestly, I think that this should be the scariest matchup for Allen, not me, because at the beginning of the season Allen said I was his scariest matchup, but honestly, I gotta say that Bob is definitely the scariest matchup for Allen this season. I'm scared for him, and I'd really like to see him pull this off, but I'm gonna give this to the Igglybuffs.
All right, buddy. Well, we are only opposite on one battle this week, so we're either being really successful together, or we are going down with the Titanic together, buddy. But hey, that will do it for Week 3 roundup, as well as our Week 4 predictions. Lynn, do you have any final words about Week 3, Week 4, life, anything?
I mean, not really, but hey, 4 All-Stars from the EBL just started the series, and I believe if I can get this up on Wednesday, the 3rd episode is up on Always More Videos channel. We're doing an ORSTV2 Soul Link, so that's cool. If you guys want to check that out, do it.
Yeah,
I'd like you forever.
And on my end, to shamelessly plug, this Saturday, when all the Week 4 EBL matches will be out, once you are done watching all of those matches, will be my 1,000 subscribers and getting channel membership celebration. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're just going to be going through a bunch of games, seeing how far I can make it. My guess is if I can get Landon, if I can get to Kalos, that would be fantastic. But it's still going to be a very fun celebration, so definitely, shamelessly plug. But anyways, folks, that'll do it for this roundup episode. Once again, folks, please make sure you subscribe to all of the coaches. Check out all their other videos. There's a lot of collaboration series happening between people in the EBL, so you don't want to miss any of the action outside of the EBL. Best way to do that, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified, hit that thumbs up button again to like the videos. Landon, any final words?
Good luck to everybody this week. This is going to be a hype one.
Absolutely. Teams will make the playoffs. Teams will get eliminated and look ahead to next year's draft. So week 4, it goes down. Once again, folks, I am ItsReallyTimmyB, joined by my co-host Infernomen, aka Landon, coach of the Iowa Incineroar. We will see you guys next week. Until then, have a great one. Peace out.